Hey everybody, welcome back to another movie review. Today we are going to be talking about A Real Pain, which is written and directed by Jesse Eisenberg, also stars Jesse Eisenberg and Kieran Culkin, so let's talk about it. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel and you like these kind of videos, make sure to do so, and make sure to also leave a comment and like these videos, but let's get into the movie review. So the movie follows these cousins David and Benji, played by Jesse Eisenberg and Kieran Culkin. They go on a trip to tour Poland to honor their late grandmother. But during this trip, old tensions between the two would begin to arise, which disrupts their trip. I left the theater thinking that this was pretty great. I think the overall direction and the writing from Jesse Eisenberg is really well done and really personal to himself, I believe, but also at the same time, I really appreciate what he was trying to do with the characters and the overall storytelling, because I was trying to grasp around the idea of what A Real Pain meant, like the title of the film, A Real Pain. And before I went into this movie, I thought a real pain meant that one of these characters were going to be like, you're such a real pain, like you're a real pain in the ass. But no, the movie's not about a real pain, like someone being a real pain in the ass. The movie is about real pain, and I really think it understands exploring those certain aspects through people and their own personal pain, because the way this movie goes about creating character is that it does something very interesting that a lot of movies don't do, and that's not giving us a lot of stuff to work with when it comes to the characters. We don't fully understand these two people. We don't understand Benji. We don't understand David a whole lot. We know that David is married and has a kid and has a fascination towards his kid and loves his family, but we don't know much past that. And it's even more so with Benji. Benji in this movie, played by Kieran Culkin, is an asshole. He is a kind of a douche. But the way the movie goes about doing that is that throughout the movie, when they're touring Poland, he's very disruptive. He's very kind of cold towards people. He's a bit narcissistic, especially towards his cousin. But the thing about it is that people aren't, discrediting him for it. They think that maybe there's something up with him or there's something wrong with him. And I think that creates very human people. I think a lot of films go about handling people and their certain issues with anger problems, and they treat it as if, we should just ignore these people, or we should just be, we shouldn't like these people that are super mean. But in real life, when someone says something shitty, or when someone says something that's not necessarily, the right kind of vibe to the situation, we just go about our day. We kind of just forget that, sometimes people have these little spurts. And that's exactly what Benji's character is. He has a lot of spurts throughout these movies, and yes, very, very infuriating, because I know people, and I have known people that are like that, where they think their opinions are higher than others. They think that they know everything. They're smartasses, and they just say whatever is on their mind, and they can get away with saying that because they don't care what comes back at them, because they think that they know what's best for everyone that's around them. And that's Benji's character. But what I personally really like about the character decisions in this movie is that we don't get a full understanding as to why Benji is like that as a character. I mean, we get some backstory to him and his grandmother, he had a really strong connection with his grandmother that he holds on to, and that he's actually very proud of that relationship that he had with her. But past that, he's kind of just this character that is an asshole, but he does have that layer of quality, and people aren't just assholes for their whole entire lives. Sometimes people do have anger problems, but there is also that very cozy side to them that really understands and appreciates people on a certain level that a lot of people just can't understand. And there's some pretty great moments in this movie when it comes to Benji and his cousin David. Like there's a moment where they first get to Poland, and he makes a comment about his cousin's feet and about how he has really nice feet, which isn't a normal thing to say. I wouldn't say it was necessarily a weird scene or a weird thing to say. It was just very interesting because even David, Jesse Eisenberg's character, was very confused by that. But when we look at that deeper, that just means that Benji has that sort of view to David. He sees things differently. He can see the things that most people wouldn't even recognize. And throughout the movie, David continues to look at his feet and is just like, huh. And he's beginning to understand more of what Benji's really trying to accomplish as a character. And I think Benji as a character was very, very authentic and beautiful. Now, this movie, for a lot, could be pretty heavy because it does explore the Holocausts of World War II, and it's pretty, it doesn't go too far into the idea of really exploring through that history, but it is a part of the movie, and it is a part of these characters because their grandma survived the Holocaust, and that is a big, big, big thing for both of them. But the movie really makes it a lot about Benji. Benji is this person that deep down we can tell that he is very hurt by almost everything that's happening throughout this movie. He's a very emotional person, but he hides that in him, unlike David, who is a much more emotional person and doesn't hide it as much. And I think that's a really powerful message that this movie gives off, because I think there are a lot of people in this world that, a lot of men, they tend to keep their emotions inside and don't really hone in on their emotions or express their emotions to people. And Benji is a character that really expresses that idea of really keeping all those emotions in for a long period of time. And then sometimes it just comes out. And David is more of someone that really does show his emotions a lot, and that's just how he gets his feelings out. And their character dynamics was really well done in this movie. Now, I've said this before about some movies, and I think it's a good thing to note is that it's a slower movie. I like slow films because it really gives us a chance to understand and listen to the writing and dialogue, and there's a lot of heavy dialogue and really important moments in this movie, especially this dinner scene that happens in which Benji has a pretty big meltdown, and then David kind of just breaks down and just kind of is having this moment of just can't really take it anymore. And it was a really great scene, and there's a lot of stuff like that in this movie. But I can understand people not liking those slow kind of films, because even though this is only an hour and a half, even shorter with the credits, it is one of those movies that you're kind of stuck with for the whole entire thing. We follow these two characters throughout the whole entire thing. We go from their plane ride to their touring Poland and back to their homes, which is, a real contemporary story. We kind of just follow these characters throughout the entire thing. And I think stories like that are quite underrated. It's really nice being able to follow a lot of characters throughout the movie, but the two main characters. It's really nice being able to step into the lives of two people. And like I said previously in this review, is that I really like how Jesse Eisenberg didn't make it a point to fully understand these characters, because I think what a lot of movies do when it comes to these kind of narratives is that we are given hints as to why these characters are like this. They do a certain thing, they say a certain thing, and that all is a foreshadow to a thing that happens at the very end of the movie. Like, for example, what I thought about in this movie was Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. In Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, spoiler alert, John Candy's character, sorry, I'm blanking on his name. I love that movie though. He's a very charismatic guy. He's funny, he's sweet, very annoying, really can get on your nerves. And at the end of the movie, turns out that he has nowhere to go. He has nowhere to go for Thanksgiving. His wife died, and he just has nothing to do for Thanksgiving. And I was pretty sure that that was something that this movie was going to do. I thought this movie was going to do something very similar, where it was building up, because Benji has a lot of stuff going on, and there's a lot with his character that makes us kind of think to ourselves as to what is his life behind everything that's happening in this movie. And it doesn't give us that satisfaction. It doesn't give us the satisfaction of, this is not a spoiler because it doesn't happen in the movie, but there isn't a satisfaction of, oh, he's actually been poor this whole time. He has nowhere to go. Or, oh, he just, got his wife left him, but he's been lying throughout the whole entire movie that she's just waiting for him at home. Like, nothing like that happens. And I appreciate that. I really appreciate that, because that is a different kind of writing skill when it comes to understanding characters, is that sometimes we don't have to fully understand and grasp what a character is and who a character is. And I think that leaves a lot of ambiguity and really makes it its own little area of beauty. One thing I will say about some of the writing choices is that there were some things that I wish Jesse Eisenberg would have honed in on a little bit more. I feel like, even though I've been making this point that we don't have to fully understand like the characters in a whole, I think it would have been a little bit nicer to have that connection between our two main characters, the cousins, because they are the main characters of the movies, and they do have certain dialogue that where they were like, oh yeah, we practiced piano when we were younger, but we didn't, it was sort of just said, and nothing between the two happened in the movie that made us be like, oh, this makes sense. I think I would have liked that a little bit more with them as characters together. But as far as their characters being separate, it was really, really nice and refreshing to kind of be told that, like, sometimes we let out these emotions. We have to really get our emotions out, even though we don't understand what's wrong with people at some points. And it's not our jobs to fully understand what's wrong with people. Just sometimes people need to get their frustration and emotions out. And this movie does that very, very well. And like I said at the beginning of the video about the title of this movie, A Real Pain, I thought this movie was going to be about really having one of these characters be a real pain, which in retrospective, it is Benji's character. He kind of is a real pain, but it's not one of those titles that has that uses the line in the movie like, you're such a real pain, or like, you're a real pain in the ass. The movie understands and grasps the idea of that pain is real. A cut on your arm, it might hurt, and there's pain behind that, but real pain is something that sticks with you forever mentally and kind of never leaves you. And that's a real pain. That is pain that is real. And I think Jesse Eisenberg made a really, really great movie. I highly recommend going to see this one in theaters. It's a really, really, really great film, and I think a lot of people will appreciate it. Thank you everyone so much for watching. That was my review of A Real Pain, which is now on theater, so you can go see it for yourself, and let me know how you like it. If you didn't like it, I want to know, so let me know in the comments below. But I'll say again, if you haven't, make sure to like and subscribe if you like these kind of videos. I know I love making them for you. I hope you love them as much as I love making them for you. But anyways, that'll bring us to the end of the video. Thank you so much for sticking around to the end of it. I appreciate every single one of you. And remember, your movie moment is right around the corner. See you in the next video.